just getting right on into this. Getting right on into diving on in, streamlining into the into the horror talk. I don't know. I was not big on Halloween Ends. I was not too big a fan. I don't know what happened. Like, I genuinely don't know what happened in between the time from Kills to now. This is just an entirely different movie from anything else we've seen happen from point A to point B, and now point C is just fucking off the rails. I don't know. I feel like if he wanted to approach this franchise and do something entirely different, it would have been cooler if every single installment in this trilogy was like an anthology, like kind of like how John Carpenter wanted to do originally. And that's kind of seeming as if that's what he wanted to do with this last movie, but I just that doesn't make any sense. Don't promise us that you're going to give us the end to a trilogy when you're actually just starting a brand new story with this new film. I don't understand the concept for this film. I really don't get it. It's literally just Christine again, too. You might as well just put on the old John Carpenter movie if you want to watch this story, but better. Hot take. I just really did not like this movie. I was pretty disappointed leaving the theater.
All right. How about you, Steven?
Okay, so I've said this many times now. Well, a few times. It's a tale of two movies, and it seems as if you had one group of writers that really wanted to write a tragic love story, and then another group of writers that really wanted to write a Michael Myers ending. And they came together and just threw their scripts together and said, let's try to make it one movie. And here's the way I've been telling people, in my opinion, there's two ways you can look at this movie. If you want to enjoy it the most, and you've already heard Fate and Jake, I think both have already touched on this tonight. If you treat it as a standalone movie, forget the past, forget any mythology of Michael Myers, which I don't think they did well. We handled that well at all. We'll get to that later. But treat it as its own movie. Don't call it Halloween Ends. Call it, Corey's story or whatever.
The Corey story.
The Corey story.
And honestly, I really mean this. If I watch it, and I've done this, I've seen the movie now 2.5 times. I'm halfway through it, third time now. If you detach that history and mythology, it's not bad. It's actually a decent story. You got a guy, because we're talking spoilers, you get a guy who's bullied, who's, he's
yep.
And he's going through all those emotions and effects. And there's this legend of this old killer, this legend killer who's been gone. Well, he stumbles upon him in the sewer, and I mean that's really a fun story if it was just a movie, like standalone movie. And then guess what? The old legendary dude comes back to kill again. I mean, it's a great story. I would love the movie like Season of the Witch, and I think David was trying to tell us with the opening credits. We're in for that kind of vibe. He was telling us non-verbally with those Season of the Witch fonts.
Great.
So,
yep, I believe it.
I think that, guys, to me, that's the way to most enjoy the movie, in my perspective. Now, if you ask me the other question, last thing I'll say, and we'll get to, I know because we want a lot of time. So, the way that, unfortunately, though, what the movie's supposed to be is the conclusion of a trilogy and a definitive wrapping up of all these characters. And unfortunately, if I look at it through the lens of that, I find myself unfulfilled and scratching my head on many, many choices. So I'll leave it there for now to share the microphone. But we'll come back. I'll share some more specifics on the next round.
Okay. All right, Fate, how about you?
So yeah, I mean, overall, again, this is just a really bad movie. I mean, Hawkins served no purpose. You didn't even need him in the movie. Same thing with Lindsay. You could have completely left him out of the movie. Michael Myers, even like
you could have left him out of the movie.
You literally could have left him out of the movie. You didn't.
It was
you
a
didn't
side
need
character.
You didn't need him. I don't even think it was that. He had like 3 scenes in the entire movie, like literally. And then the whole he killed 2 people?
2.
Yeah, he killed 2 people, and it was in tandem with Corey. And then he gets the shit kicked out of him by Corey, who was getting beat up by 100-pound kids soaking wet.
I know.
All this stuff. And it gets us it was like they didn't know what to do with this movie. It was like they didn't actually have like a story. It was like they almost were doing this on the fly. We're like, oh yeah, like that sounds good. Like, yeah, let's add that. Let's do that. Like, the Corey, again, it would have been such an easy fix. Like, you had a 4-year gap. Why couldn't Corey and Allison just have already been together? Problem solved. Have the stupid flashback to 2019, right? Which I did like the opening, but you could have had that scene, right? Which I also thought, and this is what I wanted to add too, was the foreshadowing, how they kept focusing on the stairs and the height of the stairs.
Yeah.
And then the kid falls. Like, I actually really liked that. I was like, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, you could have had the flashback. Boom. Fast forward all those years later, 3 years later, Allison and Corey are together, and that would have cut like 90% of the movie out. This movie was not a Halloween movie. It was a romantic love story turned tragedy. That it wasn't a Halloween movie. I don't, and I said this from the beginning, I don't give a shit about Corey. I don't care about Corey as a character. And you made an entire movie about Corey and Allison. You turned Allison into this completely different character.
Oh, big time.
Allison's all of a sudden like okay with killing, and like, you know, she's like dark too, and like the evil's play, or I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You actually had the soul transfer, right? You actually they actually visually showed it to you, like to where you actually saw his essence go into him.
Yes, you did.
And then you even see the crazy old, you know, homeless guy that's like, you know, like, why did he kill you? It's supposed to be me or whatever. So like, what? Just this is like of legend. Like, everyone knows, like, if Michael doesn't kill you, you become the new Michael. Like, it just, the story didn't make sense. Nothing lined up. You know, Lori immediately sees Corey after just seeing him like an hour ago, sees Corey, and all of a sudden knows that that's not Corey anymore. It's Michael.
It's the eyes.
She says later that it's
the
the
eyes.
eyes, that she saw his eyes and stuff like that, that she saw Michael's eyes and stuff. It just was a terrible direction to go. It was a terrible delivery. And again, I want to see a Halloween movie for Michael Myers. Like, I want to see a Halloween movie for, if I wanted to see Corey fucking run around killing people, I would have watched another movie. Why not just make a different movie with Corey killing people? Like, this wasn't a Halloween movie. This was, in my opinion, this was the worst Halloween movie we've ever got. Ever. I think it's worse than Resurrection. I think it's worse than everything, because it wasn't a Halloween movie. How do you have
I don't know about that.
How do you have a Halloween movie? Because yes, Season of the Witch is a Halloween movie, but it's Season of the Witch. It's its own thing. It's its own movie, its own story. So I don't knock that. I understand that it's a separation. That's not what this movie was. This movie was not a Halloween movie. How can you have a Halloween movie when Michael Myers is in 7 minutes of the movie, if that? You have the end scene, the big showdown that you hyped up, which they spoiled. They spoiled the entire end scene in hindsight, which we thought they wouldn't do. And guess what they did? You saw the entire ending. The entire ending you saw in the trailer. So they ruined that. That was so quick and so fast. Right? Like, it was so anticlimactic. Like, nothing about this movie was good. There was not a single moment in this movie that was good. I did like that they gave him a conclusive ending, though. I am glad how they ended.
I was wondering too, man. I didn't know if they were really, were really going to do it. But I do agree, though. I think that excuse me. The balance of the time was just way off, because the characters, it just didn't have enough Michael. You know, we were afraid of that. You know, he had 2 kills. We were hoping that he was, what did we say? We were hoping he was going to get like 5 or 6, something like that.
I think like 5 or 6,
And when Corey brought the asshole cop, I will say this though, man. There's a lot of assholes in this movie. They deserved it. You know what I mean? So that was kind of cool.
But that's kind of what they rested their hat on. Like, although that this stupid gimmick, every person that died was just an a-hole. Like, none of the important characters died. None of the characters we care about died. Like, we don't care about some punk kids. Like,
that's true too.
Were we happy that they died? Sure.
What I thought was going to happen is when that first guy, when Corey, you know, baited him into the sewer, and we talked about that as well. I thought that was going to be kind of like a little bit of a plot going on there, and I was like, okay, I can see where this is going to go, and then Michael's going to come back, but that's not what happened.